1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hey, ha! All right, what did I get up to?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of How Many, the only podcast that counts. I am your host, Junior. We are missing Jesse today, who is our normal host, but we do have a very special guest that is joining us specifically to talk about a recent passing and how many songs that particular band had. With me today is, of course, Bob Bland, otherwise known as Lukewarm Tallboy.
Hello.
I have Gary Grant, the Travel_Cowboy, and we have the infamous, hated by many, including the Hardline and any P1 Facebook group he ever joined, Pittsburgh Dave.
Hello, but I have to ask the question. I don't really understand what use I can do with this show. Normally, the Monkees that you guys and the Tick and everybody talks about is Coco.
Coco is official dead sign language gorilla in lower heaven of FM user.
And Harambe.
Tits out for Harambe. Tits out for Harambe.
I really don't know where we're going with this. But, I don't really know how much I can help.
He's doing
D's
a bit.
and T's out for Harambe. But we did have a very notable death, did we not, Pittsburgh Dave, that we need to address and figure out just how many great songs did Michael Nesmith and the Monkees have. And I guess first we probably need to figure out how many did they actually play instruments on.
Oh, those monkeys, those kind of monkeys. Oh, okay. Now I'm with you. Now I understand why I'm here.
Now, the reason we really think Mike Nesmith's important locally is because he actually went to high school in Dallas.
Yes, Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah.
And
I was not aware of that. I kind of assumed they were all British.
No, only Davy Jones is British.
Yeah, Davy was the only one that was British. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Michael Nesmith is
American. They were the American version of the Beatles. That was supposed to be the answer.
I think it's because when I hear Davy Jones, he had that British accent, and it made me think they were all British.
Yeah, Mike Nesmith was big out of the, he was in with that Bakersfield sound.
Not only did he go to high school in Dallas, Junior, he was born, I believe, in San Antonio. He grew up, he spent time in San Antonio also.
Yeah, and of course, we all know the famous.
Is there
story.
a plaque of him hanging on the Alamo right now?
No, his mother whited it out.
Right. Yeah.
She invented liquid paper.
Yes, she did.
I thought Romy and Michelle invented liquid paper. Oh, wait,
no, they invented
Post-it notes.
I invented Post-its.
No, really, what do you do?
That's what I do. I invented Post-its.
Maybe they're hanging his plaque in the basement right next to Pee-wee's bike.
There's no basement at the Alamo.
Now, I have a list of 33 Monkee songs. Now, you guys can add if there's something that's off the list, but we're going to go around the horn and say, out of the 33 baseline, how many do you think the Monkees have?
This ought to be interesting because as big as a Monkees fan that I am, even I don't have that big a list.
I was going to say, did they even record 33 songs?
Oh, yeah.
Are you just taking monologues from their show?
No.
Considering it a song.
I was pulling from their 2 CD greatest hits.
Uh-huh.
So what would
Absolutely.
your guess be, Petey? Out of just using 33 as baseline, how many do you think we're going to count as a group?
I'll put in what I thought it was. So it's probably actually going to be less than this, but I'm going to put 18.
18. Okay. Gary, are you a Monkees fan at all?
I liked the TV show when I was a kid because I thought it was funny. I thought the band was a joke. I didn't know it was really a thing. So
do you like any of the songs?
Like if there are a few of their songs, I suppose if by some real weird stretch of reality they came onto my radio, I might not turn them off. But there are 0 Monkees songs in my phone, on my computer, or anywhere in my household.
Okay. Now that being said, how many do you think we're going to end up counting?
Well, I think Junior is very similar to me when it comes to them.
I wouldn't admit that about anything.
I mean, that says from the guy with all the Pittsburgh stuff behind him. So just take that with a grain of salt. My guess is Junior and I are probably going to shoot down a fair number of these. 14.
Okay. Junior, how about you?
That's actually a pretty high number. Now, if it was going off of how many I actually know, I would probably say like 6.
Yeah.
But I think Bob and PD are going to oversell a lot of these. And I am going to go with 12 because I think you guys are going to push for some of the ones that me and Gary are going to think are either made up songs that you're just making up or complete and total deep cuts and B-sides.
But we control this, Junior. They've got to convince one of us or it doesn't count.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of exemptions I think they're going to be requesting.
Oh, you get one exemption. And most there's going to be 2.
Now, just speaking of the Monkees roster, there is only one left, right? All of the other ones have died.
Mickey Dolenz is, Mickey
Rambe's dead.
Coco's dead. So the fake Corby is the only one that is still alive.
Mickey Dolenz, out of all the Monkees, he was the hardest partier, full throttle. Like he should have been the first one to die out of the 4.
So he's the Keith Richards.
Yes, he is the Keith Richards of the Monkees.
Now, when did Davy Jones pass?
Oh, he was the first one.
Yeah, he was the first one. That's been, 10 years now?
Have you never heard of Davy Jones's Locker?
Deliver Colonel Sanders down to Davy Jones' locker.
Did you know there was another David Jones back in the day?
Exactly.
Who had to change his name because of the popularity of Davy Jones. No, but this would be David Bowie.
So David Bowie's original name was David Jones.
Yeah.
And he had to change
and
it
he didn't want to be a stepping stone for the Monkees. So he
I see what you did there.
Spoiler. All
okay,
right,
so let's get to the list.
All right, so since you already mentioned it, Junior, I'm not your stepping stone.
I'm not your stepping stone.
Would you count that as one of the Monkees?
Yes, that is probably one of the 6 that I know. And I think it was a big enough hit that globally recognized as one of their hits, right?
Yes, and actually that was a cover for them. Paul Revere and the Raiders actually put it out first.
Okay.
And Paul Revere and the Raiders, best known for Cherokee People, Cherokee Tribe.
Cherokee people, Cherokee tribe.
That was later. They had something before that. I'm trying to think of what it is.
Well, the whole Once Upon a Time in Hollywood soundtrack has a ton of Paul Revere and the Raiders. That's what they were jamming out to.
Kicks was a big hit.
Right.
As all the Manson children were stabbing them, that's what was playing in the background.
Anything to do with the Monkees?
Okay, so speaking of the Monkees and their songs, how about the theme from the Monkees TV show?
Well, absolutely, that has to count.
Wait,
I mean, everybody knows. Walking down the street, we get the funniest looks from everyone ain't me.
Hey, we're the Monkees.
Walking down the street, we get the funniest looks from everyone ain't me.
Hey, we're the Monkees.
All right.
Of course that counts.
Did it chart? Like, did it do anything?
Okay, the Monkees theme song. I'm pulling up the chart listings here now.
I'm actually not seeing it on the Hot 100.
It actually did not chart, but dude, that's one of their best known songs.
I know it was fake protest. I count it.
Probably because when you think about it, that was on their first album, and then Last Train to Clarksville is on that album. That's what was getting to play. So.
Yeah.
They probably just weren't playing it.
Yeah, because that's true. We never see more than one song off of an album make it onto the charts.
So the Monkees theme song, we're counting that, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Last Train to Clarksville.
Take the last train to Clarksville and I'll meet you at the station. You can be here by 4:30 because I've made your reservation.
Went to number 1, and it's probably their best known hit. So you guys count that one?
Sure.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Nesmith's on the last train to Hellsville, probably.
The last hearse to Clarksville. You guys familiar with Take a Giant Step?
Come with me, leave yesterday behind, and take a giant step outside your mind.
Take a giant step outside your mind.
Take a dump.
That's another one on their first album. And actually, Taj Mahal, the avant-garde jazz, funky, weird guy from a group back in the 60s. They did a remake of that, and actually it charted better for them than it did for the Monkees.
So you acknowledge, PD, that that's a B-side, deep cut.
That is a deep cut, yes. It's a song
literally was the B-side to Last Train to Clarksville.
So yeah, that one doesn't count.
All right. How about Papa Jean's Blues?
For I love you and I know you love me.
A Mike Nesmith written song.
I would count it, but again, maybe in this context, you're asking the wrong guy. That's where you can see the kind of music that he wanted to play, as opposed to what Kirshner was, pushing on them.
This is a real quick aside. You get what we're doing with what counts and what doesn't, right?
Yeah.
All right, because just because you like it doesn't mean it doesn't suck.
Although I will say, PD, you can make a case if you feel that it's not getting
make a case,
the recognition it deserves.
But when the case that you make is that I like it even if everybody else didn't,
that's not a good enough case. I understand what you mean by that, but it's definitely one I would count, but I can understand that you don't.
Bob, would you count that one, since you're probably the second most knowledgeable Monkees person?
I enjoy the song, but it's not well known enough to count. No.
Well, of course, Bob knows what all this stuff is. It's the 60s. He was in high school. He's learning it.
All right, here's another one. And a lot of these were written by this duo, Boyce and Hart. They wrote this one as well. Just She.
They're ode to pronouns, I guess.
Honestly,
they're way ahead of their time.
I think I know that song. How does that go?
I can't actually remember how that one goes. PD, do you remember how that goes?
Let's see. It's I'm trying to get up there. I'm trying to see if I can get it in the right key here. She told me that she loved me.
Oh, yeah.
I believed her from the start. She told me that she loved me.
Oh, yeah.
I believed her from the start.
And actually, I think, didn't Rupert Holmes make a sequel to that one?
That was him, so that would be the possessive side of things, yeah.
Him, what's she gonna do about him?
I listened to
Another episode later.
Snippet of it. I don't recognize it at all. That's a no.
Now, this next one was one of my favorite songs when I was a little kid, and just because of how silly and ridiculous it is, but it's a deep cut. It's not going to count. You've probably never heard of it. Petey may have. Your Auntie Griselda.
I know she's having a fit. She doesn't like me a bit. No bird of grace ever lit on Auntie Griselda.
Of course I've heard of it. That's one of Peter's songs, and if the last time I saw them, of course, that was his big step out to come in front of everything to do Your Auntie Griselda. Absolutely. But no, I can't even count that.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Peter. Gary, have you heard of that one?
No, I'm not familiar with Peter songs.
Here's one. There's another guy that wrote a lot of songs that the Monkees did. Some of them he wrote for the Monkees. Neil Diamond. This is one that was a semi-hit. I would count this. Look Out, Here Comes Tomorrow.
Look out, here comes tomorrow. That's when I'll have to choose.
PD, is that one you remember?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm going to know all of these. I've got every one. Well, I shouldn't say every one of their albums, but all the big ones from the main time of their heyday. I know it, and I've listened to it over and over. I like the song, but no, I wouldn't count it.
I've actually heard that song. And
you have?
I know it, but I would not count it, even though the great Neil Diamond wrote it.
All right.
It's hard to vote against anything Neil Diamond related, but I'm going to have to do it.
And yet, watch this. No.
All right. Okay. Now, what about Words? Not the Bee Gees song Words, but this is a different one. Words.
Words that never were true, spoken to help nobody but you.
Also a Boyce and Hart written song. You guys know that one?
You're getting into their catalog that I really like because I love the album that one's on.
Was that on Headquarters?
No. Words is on Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, Jones Limited.
Because Junior asked earlier about how many ones they played the instruments on. Only their first two albums they did not play the instruments on. Everything after the first two albums they did. And Mike Nesmith is the reason, because he went to the record executives and said, we are not going to record any more albums unless you let us do the instrument. And he and Peter Tork were the only actual musicians. So Davy Jones had to learn how to hit the tambourine. And
they couldn't have him play the drums because you wouldn't have seen him. He's so short.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And then Mickey had to play the drums.
So
Right.
did they have to subcontract all the actual instrument parts out to the Wrecking Crew?
Pretty much.
That's the first two albums they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Wrecking Crew was essentially doing all of the instrumentation, and that's what, and they just came in and sang the vocals. And I remember, of course, I was a big fan of the show, and I remember they do these little clips where they're interviewing and the guys, and they were talking to Mike, and everybody was saying, how come, what are you supposed to do if you don't play your own instruments? And he goes, wait a second, we're about to go out and play in front of thousands of people. Now, if I can't play this guitar, I'm in a lot of trouble. They knew how to play once they got in and started getting everything together. But, Don Kirshner was convinced that all the people that they had, all the session people were better at it. So they had them do it and then just come in and sing the vocals.
Now, when they actually started playing their instruments, did their number of hits get higher or lower?
You can make an argument that they really were about the same. Now, they had their third album, Headquarters, and that, if you get on a little, history of rock and roll piece here, Headquarters came out. It's their third album. It's the first one where they were really playing most everything. Yeah, they still had some session musicians, but everybody did. That album comes out. It debuts, comes out. It's number one. It's number one for 1 week. And then this little album called Sgt. Pepper. And that killed them after that, and then their next album, the one I mentioned before with all their zodiac signs and all, they took kind of that side of things. They started getting a little bit psychedelic with it in that next album. Mickey got one of the first Moog synthesizers ever and started playing around with that. They used that on a couple of songs on that next album. But I think the first two albums, I'm not sure if they got to I don't think the second one did. The first one may have gotten to number one, but I know Headquarters did, and that's it.
We're not counting words, right? I like to follow up numbers, but I don't like words.
We're not counting words.
Right.
Next one, I'm almost positive we're not going to count because I don't even recognize this one. Love is Only Sleeping.
And I whispered sometimes love is only sleeping.
No, although you of all people should recognize that one.
That's another one off of I call it Pac Jones Limited. That album, it's their fourth. One of my favorite songs of theirs.
What was the next song after that?
Pac-Man Jones.
Not Pac-Man Jones.
Now, this next one is one that's been referenced a lot with the Nesmith passing because he co-wrote it. Auntie's Municipal Court.
Sound man crazy man, he can't see. The sound of the sunset, the sound of the sea.
I cannot even believe you put that on the list, Bob. No.
Okay.
Wow, even PD hates it.
No, listen, this is exactly why this is ridiculous that we're even doing this. That came off of their greatest hits album, and a huge fan just said, I can't believe you put it on the list.
Well, it was the expanded, the 2-disc version. So it's a lot of hits, a lot of non-hits too. Another one I've heard of, but I don't know if I've heard it. Zor and Zam.
They gave a war and nobody came. That's what she said.
How are you picking some of these songs? No.
It's the greatest hits album.
Wasn't that a cartoon, Zor?
I think it was an Adam Sandler movie.
All right, now this next one I like so much. I'm going to use an exemption if it doesn't go through. And Junior,
you'll just put it in. Let's just move on.
You'll be glad to know, Junior, this is one that's been covered by your favorite band of mine, Guided by Voices. PD, are you a fan of Saturday's Child?
She's always on the go, so I'm in love with Saturday's Child. Every time you take her out at night, you want to kiss and hold her way up tight.
Yeah, I love Saturday's Child. That is a very cool song off their first album. Yeah, absolutely.
I did not realize until I pulled this list that song was written by David Gates of Bread and the Goodbye Girl fame.
Yes, the greatness of David Gates.
Gary, have either you or Junior heard of that song before?
No, I'm a bigger fan of Sunday's Child than I am of Saturday's Child.
Dang it. All right, the next one I'm pretty sure everyone's going to be familiar with. Definitely a Neil Diamond written song. And if you've ever seen Shrek, you'll know I'm a Believer.
Yes, I'm a Believer. You have to put that one probably at the top of their list. 3 number ones, and that's one of them.
Yep, that did go to number one, just like Last Train to Clarksville.
Yeah, and unfortunately for all the Nesmith family members, they're all I'm a bereavers now. Then I saw her face.
Down, 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 down.
Now I'm a bereaver. Then I saw her face.
Down, 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 down.
Now I'm a bereaver.
All right, we're counting that one.
Yes, definitely counting that.
Another one that was somewhat of a well-known track, although I don't know that it charted very highly. I Wanna Be Free.
I wanna be free, like the bluebirds flying by me.
It was a big Davy Jones solo
I
singing
want
thing.
to break free. I want to break free.
Not quite that one, you know.
I was just doing something that the people might be interested in.
So we're not going to count that one, right?
No.
Now here's another Neil Diamond one that I think should count and that you probably will remember. A little bit me, a little bit you.
You know that it's true. It's a little bit me, and it's a little bit you.
I've heard it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would count it, but I could be persuaded, but I know it.
You know who won't count it? Bob.
It got to number 2, you know. It got to number 2.
That's
on
right.
the,
It did get to number 2.
Bob only likes the
which I was
version
kind of
that's-
surprised by.
Bob doesn't like that version, though. He only likes it when it is a whole lot of him and nobody else.
It's me, it's me, it's me, it's me.
You literally beat me by 1 second.
Good shtick. But I will count this one. Because like PD said, I went to number 2.
In the interest of
It
fairness,
is number 2.
I am going to count this one. But Gary's right. It is a big steaming pile of number 2.
Dang it. Can't believe you turned on Neil
Because
Diamond.
it made it there, I'll let it have it. But yeah, it's a number 2.
All right. Now, this next one, if Junior doesn't count this, I'll be shocked. I won't know what I'll do with myself. And there's a very particular reason for it. He'll know it as soon as I name the title. Also written by Michael Nesmith, PD, Mary, Mary.
Mary, Mary, where are you going to?
Yes.
Yeah.
If only because Run
Because Run
DMC
DMC covered it.
did a version of it. And the Run DMC version is greatness, and they wouldn't have been able to do it without the Monkees
Mary,
version. Why you bugging? Do it without the Monkees version. Why you bugging?
And I read an interview about that Nesmith did on that, and he said he loved that version, and he was totally on board with them changing that lyric. He thought that was really cool, which I think is kind of nice because a lot of songwriters are kind of pretentious a-holes, and they would rage up if you changed anything about the way they wrote the song.
Well, that's something you know a whole lot about. And I remember seeing this. I think I saw the video one time on MTV back in the day.
Well, I never. Well, now you do.
Around that same time, there was a guy, some rap artist, and his name was Mr. Dabalina.
Mr. Bob Dabalina.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right,
former
that's
P1
from a
great.
Monkey
Former
song
P1.
called Zilch.
Mr. Davalina, Mr. Bob Davalina, Mr. Davalina, Mr. Bob Davalina, Mr. Davalina, Mr. Bob Davalina.
Go back to their headquarters album, and there's a song called Zilch.
I'll take your word for it.
Oh, for Pete's sake, let's move on to the next song, which is, for Pete's sake, you won't recognize the name, but if you ever watched the show,
Yeah.
it was the song at the end, the end
Yes, the end
credits.
credits.
I like this song better than the theme of the Monkees.
Okay, legit.
Me too.
How does it go?
In this generation.
Generation.
In this generation. Yeah, that's about all I know of it. But
What was it called again?
for Pete's sake.
For Pete's sake.
And it was co-written by Peter
I mean, I
Tork.
watched the show when I was a kid. I just don't.
Yeah, when you hear it, it'll ring a bell. It had that 60s Batman dance sound to it.
A little
Yeah.
bit, yeah.
It sounds familiar to me too, now that Gary played it. I'm going to count it.
Very nice.
Very nice, yes.
Yeah, we'll let it slip by.
All right, now this next song, for years and years and years and years, the title confused me to no end. But especially now following English Premier League soccer, it makes perfect sense. Randy Scouse Git.
It's too easy humming songs to a girl in yellow dress. It's been a long time since wants to party, and the room is in a mess.
If you have no concept of what a scouse is, it's just gibberish, right?
Right. You know, and the only other place I heard "get" would be from Monty Python. Me stupid.
Right.
Get.
A scouse is someone from Liverpool, right?
I guess, but I thought it was pronounced Jiff.
I probably do get Randy. I just have nothing to do about it.
Yeah, it's what Austin Powers accuses all the chicks he sees of being.
Exactly.
Do I make you Randy?
Make you horny, baby. Yeah.
This is a Mickey Dolenz. He wrote this song. He sang it. And the thing that, if you've ever heard it, what you'll always remember are those drums.
Yes, he plays the timpani on it. Da-da-da-da-dome, 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 da-da-da-da-dome. Absolutely. Da-da-da-da-dome, 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 da-da-da-da-dome.
Petey, I would count this. Would you count this?
Absolutely, I would count Randy Scouse Kid. Yeah.
Now, what about you guys, Gary or Junior? Have y'all ever heard this?
I have not, but I liked your description of it so much.
It was the B-side to Daydream Believer.
I'll tell you what, Junior, if you were to bring up the video and watch it right now, the faces that he is making while he's singing, it's massive shake laugh. I'll count it because the video is funny. Well,
it's very psychedelic.
Yeah, well, like that is some crazy panic face.
He looks like he's doing a Sid Caesar bit.
Yeah, his eyes are all cross-eyed. Okay, I'm going to count it just for the shake laugh of the video.
Okay. Now, we are getting into a little vein of actual hits here. This next one might be one of my maybe top 3 or 4 Monkees songs of all time. Pleasant Valley Sunday.
Yes.
One that everybody should know, and this one really shouldn't even deserve much discussion. It's an automatic.
That one made it to number 3 on the chart.
How's that go, Bob?
Another Pleasant Valley Sunday here in Status Symbol Land. Another Pleasant Valley Sunday here in Status Symbol Land.
Yeah, that sucks, but it made it to 3, so I guess.
Yeah, I definitely know that one.
Now, the next one was written by a non-Monkee who had a hit, not with this song, but with another song. And someone else performed this song much later and had a huge hit with it. Monkees also had a hit with it, Daydream Believer.
Cheer up, sleepy Jean. Oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen?
Hit nothing, their last number 1.
It was a number 1 for the Monkees, but Anne Murray definitely had even a bigger hit with that, I would think.
And it made me sick when I heard it. I remember hearing that, what was it, the late 70s or so when she did that. And that was just as I'm starting to come into real kind of music consciousness. And I'm just going, what is this bitch doing to my song?
Whoa, hey,
hey. You turned on Anne Murray?
Boy, Donnan is not going to be happy
I was going
with
to
this.
say, that is Kevin Donnan's favorite female artist of all time.
The
greatest
Canadian royalty.
In fairness, after listening to PD's bands of his life, if she wasn't a lesbian, he's got no use for her. So.
Shake laugh. PD, do you know who wrote that one?
Who wrote Daydream Believer?
Don't look it up. I know who wrote it.
No, actually, I don't. I forgot.
Sniffer
Are you familiar with the artist known as Jon Stewart?
Would this be the same Jon Stewart that did Gold?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Now,
Wow,
Junior, Gary, are you guys familiar with that song Gold?
No,
Stevie
but
Nicks did the backup
he went on
vocals
to become the host of The Daily Show, didn't he?
I remember the Prince album Gold, which actually was awesome.
Gold, you know that one? When the sun goes down in the California town, people are home for the evening. When the sun goes down in the California town, people are home for the evening.
That actually sounds familiar. Get to the money shot part of it.
Yeah, people around here turning music into gold. People around here turning music into gold.
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, Stevie Nicks does some backups on it.
Her and Lindsey Buckingham.
Lindsey Buckingham was on it too, wasn't
those two were on several big 70s hits. They were on that. They were on Magnet and Steel.
For you are a magnet and I am steel.
Now, since Daydream Believer went to number 1, it should count, right?
Yeah, that's the first.
All right, so next one of the few that was written by all 4 of the Monkees, plus an additional writer, Going Down.
And the word gets round,
going down. I'm going down.
Turned into a Bruce Springsteen song too, didn't it?
I thought it turned into a Leonard Skinner song.
You know,
I would not count.
I would like to count it just for the Breaking Bad angle.
Which was used in a Breaking Bad episode?
It was in the last season where Walter and Jesse, when they were doing the pest control part of the houses, where they bag up the houses and then they were doing all their cooks in there. That was used in one of those.
I was going to say, I remember the crystal blue persuasion part, but I don't remember the going down part.
No, that one was in there, and I remember. And Mickey talked about it getting interviewed. He said, "Hey, you know, great for us." You know?
Yeah, really, it was definitely.
So, do you want to use an exemption for that one? Because I don't think anybody's going to vote it in.
No, I'm not, because I'm waiting to maybe hear for one before. I'm going to hold on to my exemption for now.
Okay, we only have a few more to go. Thank God. The next one is one I do remember. It was a big Mike Nesmith vocal. He did not co-write this though. Although the guy, you remember the song "Wildfire"?
That's a great song, by the way. I love that song.
I never understood it for the longest time. I called, did the horse die? Did she die? Who's dead here? I thought
they put the horse down or something because it was like attacking the little girl.
Yeah, because we can't even fix the horse's bones.
We can't even fix a horse's bones.
It was a rabid horse. So
anyway,
what am I doing hanging around is the song.
What am I doing hanging around? I should be on that train and gone.
And Junior, the song is basically about not waiting around on the porch.
Okay, so somebody knocked, they didn't answer.
Well, no, not literally.
I'm not going to count it. I've never heard of it.
No, I mean, I like the song. I can't identify with it because the girl was in love with him. And
so we're going to say no to that one.
Now, this next one I've got an attachment to. It wasn't a huge hit, but it was prominently featured in one of the Monkees episodes. And it's most notable because it was the first song written by this very well-known artist that got recorded by anyone. Harry Nilsson wrote this one, Cuddly Toy.
You're not the only cuddly toy that was ever enjoyed by any boy.
Another one from my favorite album of theirs, but I'm not going to count it. I like it, but no.
Yeah, I don't know that one. I think I'm going to say no. Although I like Harry Nilsson.
The Cuddly Toy is one that if I hadn't already used my exemption, I would have, but I burned it. So TS, I'm out of luck.
Right.
All right. This next one is another highly charting song of theirs. This one made it to number 3, just like Pleasant Valley Sunday did. And it was around the same time, Valerie.
Absolutely. You have to count Valerie. It didn't come out till one of their later albums, but they had recorded it much earlier than that because they wanted it in the show. I remember the first time I did that one on karaoke.
So in case Gary and Junior aren't familiar with this, PD, why don't you give us a little taste of that karaoke?
There's a girl I know who makes me feel so good, and I couldn't live without her even if I could. They call her Valerie. They call her Valerie. There's a girl I know who makes me feel so good, and I couldn't live without her even if I could. They call her Valerie. They call her Valerie.
Now, PD, do you touch your the sides of your head to help you remember the lyrics? I noticed that you do that every time.
No, it's his human tuning fork.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's some kind
just trying to get it in my head, just trying to focus.
Now, if you had said the Steve Winwood version of Valerie, I would have counted this. because that song is greatness. But
That is a
this
great song.
Valerie is terrible.
But it went to number 3. It's a big hit.
Right.
Okay, because of the
Yeah, it
charting
has to
power, I'm going to count it. But Steve Winwood has the superior Valerie.
I would agree. The Steve Winwood version is better.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Sure.
All right, so we only have 4 left, guys. The next one is the theme song from their movie, the movie that was directed by Jack Nicholson.
Very young Jack Nicholson.
Head. This song was Porpoise Song.
You know, it's one of those that I understood. I said, wait a second, these guys aren't writing the same kind of music anymore. But it's a song that I've got to get because of its niche status of being part of the movie and everything. I'm counting it.
Okay. I kind of feel like in agreement with you somewhat, but it only went to number 62 on the chart. So,
Porpoise, you say? Is that what it's called? Porpoise?
Porpoise Song.
Yeah.
Well,
the Flipper theme song is what it didn't turn into, right?
If you had said it hit 69, I would have been on board because that would have been nice. But because you said it went to 63,
62.
and it's
62.
a crazy psychedelic song, I'm out.
Right.
Fair enough. All right. We're not counting Porpoise Song. All right. This next one charted at 63, not 62. It was a Mike Nesmith written song, Listen to the Band.
Come on, play the drums just a little bit louder. Tell us we can live without her now that we have listened to the band.
I bet this is the one that Petey's saving his exemption for.
No, I like this one. It was on their greatest hits, the first album I ever owned, given to me as for a birthday present way back in 75 would be their greatest hits. And that was, I think, the last song of the album, Listen to the Band. So I'm counting it.
I've never heard of it, so I can't in good conscience count this one.
Have you heard of this one, Gary?
No.
All right. This was the last big charting Monkees hit from their 80s comeback. And it also was a movie, but it wasn't used for the movie. That was then, this is now.
That one counts.
You remember that one?
Yep.
I know that one too.
It went to number 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one counts.
Very
when
good.
I said the other day when I was dogging on them, that was the one that I had forgotten about.
Right.
That one counts.
Very nice. All right. Last one on the list. And until anybody wants to add any other ones, this was a big Mike Nesmith song, Circle Sky.
You know, it's weird. For the longest time, just going like, what? I don't even know this one. And there was a lot of talk about it because that album, that's one of theirs that I don't have. And I didn't know it until I went to see them the last time I saw them over in Tulsa a few years back.
Last time you saw them.
So you saw them multiple times, PD?
Absolutely, actually. And they were the first group that I ever saw twice in the same tour.
Wow.
So how long of a time span?
When that album came out, this was 86.
Yeah, because that's when they came out on MTV showing all the old episodes.
Yeah, everybody they did that, and they did the Christmas song that year for MTV and so on. But it was on that tour, and I saw them in my hometown in Little Rock, and then about a month later or so, I saw them in Memphis.
Wow, that is Jesse Bruce Springsteen-ish commitment right there.
That is
twice in a month.
Monkey right there. That's what that is.
So
yeah,
we're not going to count Circle Sky because I know I wouldn't count it. I don't think they.
No.
I don't know.
No,
it.
Better known as Circle Jerk.
It was one of my favorite parts of the movie of Head when they show them in concert playing because the intro was kind of wheels off. That whole and they
did they have Beavis doing the narration for that movie?
So, Petey, which ones did you want to add to the list?
Going over, I mean, there were so many when I was looking at going through them, but I really want to put one in here, and I kind of mentioned it before. There's a couple off of that Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, Jones Limited album. And this song, I think, got absolutely slated because it was a Monkees tune, but it's called Daily Nightly.
Dark and rolling
I know that one.
You know, and when you look at the lyrics, if this had been Jefferson Airplane or maybe the Doors or something like that, it would have done something. But you look at darkened rolling figures move through prisms of no color, hand in hand they walk the night but never know each other. I mean, these are.
It sounds like Moody Blues. Breathe deep, the gathering gloom.
Watch nights fade from every room. Right. I mean, there were just some great. The lyrics are great, and as I mentioned before, it uses the Moog synthesizer. It was just
Andy Moog,
not Andy Moog, but Goldie.
Okay, so that's your exemption, right, PD?
Yeah, daily nightly.
So you didn't want to use it for Tapioca Tundra.
No, this was a better song than Tapioca Tundra. You know, Star Collector is also on that album, and it uses the Moog a lot as well. But if I got to pick one of the two, I'm using Daily Nightly.
Any other songs we forgot?
You brought up Words. I was surprised by that. D.W. Washburn and Teardrop City were a couple of, as, you know, Mike was taking over, there's a little bit of more country to them.
D.W. Washburn.
I heard a sweet voice say...
Yeah, and D.W. Washburn, I wasn't familiar with that one, but that actually charted. Like, I think it got to the top 20. That shocked me. So, do you guys think that should count since it was top 20?
Kind of seems like maybe you should have put it on the list if it was top 20.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, it's weird. Hey, Words got to 11, and we're not talking. I'm really surprised that Words got that high.
If you had said Chris Washburn, maybe.
Okay. All right. So
Railroad Spike.
I've totaled up the numbers here, and we have a grand total of 14. 14 is our number. So Gary wins the Showcase Showdown. What was you? Did you have 12?
14.
Oh, you nailed it. You had 14.
Yeah.
Right
he wins
on the
both
head.
showcases.
He gets the kitchen and the
Thank you, PD, for being on the show with us and hard selling us on all of these
so
horrendous
honored
songs.
to be joined on such a high level of a podcast as this. Ugh, hard to get that out, but anyway, yes, thank you very much.
So we are expecting our highest ratings ever for these episodes, PD.
Well, we were planning on all of our guests to download everything at least 20 times. That's where our numbers come from.
We're going to activate the click farms just for you, PD.
All right. So, PD, how can folks reach you on Twitter?
Yeah, at Pitt Dave, PITTDAVE, the infamous Pittsburgh Dave. Yes, that's where you can find me on Twitter. If you find me on Twitter and you want to chat some other way, or, you know, if you live up here in Arkansas and you know some of the single ladies that might be around, we don't talk about that, but, you know, send them my way. But anyway, yeah, we can talk later.
Junior, how can folks reach you?
You can reach me, Mexican_Junior on Twitter. You can reach the show on Twitter at How Many Podcasts. You can also email us, howmanypodcasts@gmail.com. You can reach out to us on our YouTube channel, Facebook page. In this instance, Facebook has not banned PD from our How Many.
So you should engage him in a conversation, a discussion about his performance.
Yes.
You take constructive criticism.
Gary, how about you? What is your Twitter?
It is at PD's Pimp on Twitter. You can reach me at travel_cowboy.
Very nice. And you can reach me at Lukewarm Tallboy. Funny story. Enjoyed it, PD. Thanks so much.